Carolyn. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video, we are going to be talking about how to travel for cheap. So we're gonna break this video down into 3 parts. The first part is gonna be how to save on where you're staying. The second part is gonna be how to save on travel expenses like flights, buses, Ubers, stuff like that. And then the third portion of this video is gonna be other miscellaneous tips on just how to save money in general while you're traveling. So when it comes to where you're staying when you're traveling, there are a few different ways that you can really use to save money. So to save on where you're staying, my first and easiest tip is to stay with a family friend. If you have a family member or someone that your family knows that lives in a destination spot, to you at least, maybe not to them, ask them if you can stay with them. The worst they can say is no, and the best they can say is yes. Another thing you can do to save money on where you're staying is to stay in a hostel. I was looking up hostels in Dublin, Ireland this morning, and they ranged anywhere from $14 to $30 a night. And that's for a 2-person stay. And yes, if you stay in a hostel, you'll be in a dorm room setting, but dorm room setting versus like $150 for a hotel, you can pick and weigh your options. The hostels in Paris, France were also around like $50, which is still pretty affordable. Another thing you can do that is similar to the hostels and a place you can find them is to stay in an Airbnb. A lot of the times hostels will be listed on Airbnb's website, and it tends to be a lot cheaper than staying in a hotel. Another option you would have would be to camp. So I have had friends who have taken road trips all the way across the country and camped and saved so much money, because myself, I've driven from Georgia to Idaho and it cost me around $100 a night, and it was a 5-day trip. So $500 versus $20 to $30 for a campsite per night is a huge difference. That means you end up saving, I gotta use my calculator, around $350 if you're gonna do a 5-night road trip. If you camp for 5 nights versus staying in a hotel for 5 nights, you'll save some cash. Lastly, my biggest tip for staying somewhere and saving money is gonna be to travel during off-season. You can easily find out the on-season of where you're wanting to visit. You just have to Google it. So say you want to go to Yellowstone National Park or Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The cheapest month you're going to find a hotel in Jackson is in May, because that's right at the end of snowboard season and right before the beginning of summer tourist season. So instead of paying $700 for a hotel in Jackson Hole, or you could pay $90 for a night stay in Jackson Hole during the first week of May, which is the slowest week of the year. So now we're on to the second portion of this video, is how to save on travel costs. And this includes airfare and getting around town. One of the best ways to find the cheapest flights possible to any random place in the world is to sign up for an email list. There are so many email lists out there that send out mistake airfares that airlines make, or just incredibly cheap, low airfare prices to you in an email, whether it be once a week, once a month. You can even pay to like get first pick, which if you're paying $5 a month for a subscription to a flight versus $500 extra for a flight, they kind of balance each other out. So my favorite one to do for this is Scott's Cheap Flights, and I'm not on like the premium paid members list, but I'm on the free list, and what they'll do is they send you random emails to, this mistake airfare happened and now you can fly round trip from Atlanta, Georgia to Tokyo for $500, and other crazy insane things like that. You should see the emails they send out about the round trip airfares to Australia. And if we could just like pack up and go to Australia, I would, because yes. Granted, with these email lists, a lot of the times you have like a 3-week period to use it, or sometimes it's an airfare that is 6 months out. But if you're on the gun and ready to go whenever, then these email lists are the best way to get inexpensive flights. I'll also make sure I link Scott's Cheap Flights down below. That way, if you guys want to sign up for the free email list, you can, and then you can get awesome airfare deals right in your inbox. Another thing you can do to save on travel fare is going to be to get a credit card that you can redeem the points for travel points. A small example of this is that I was able to fly round trip from Idaho to Georgia for $11.20 on Delta last month. And that is a really good deal. $11.20 is like cheaper than it is for 2 people to eat at McDonald's. So if you're good with your money and you feel like you're adult enough to get a credit card, I highly recommend one that is going to give you actual like Sky Miles or travel rewards. I know Frontier has one, Southwest has one. Basically, if they're an airline, they probably have a credit card that you can sign up for so you can get cheaper airfare points. Another good tip is to keep your bags when you're packing to one carry-on. A lot of airlines will have hidden fees when it comes to taking a larger suitcase with you. And then that also comes with, if your suitcase is over 50 pounds, you have to pay X amount of dollars, and it's usually a lot of dollars. Or, you have to pay for a carry-on even sometimes. So if you're paying for a carry-on and a large checked bag, that is a lot of extra money coming out of your pocket when you could just Take one carry-on and either A, wash your clothes while you're there, or B, rewear them and not care because you're on vacation. My last travel tip is to skip the Uber. If you're in a city where there are sidewalks and it is safe for you to walk places, walk the places. Those little quarter mile, 1.5 mile Uber rides, even though they're saving you a little bit of time, it'll save you a lot of money to not take them. Not to mention you also get to experience different parts of cities and things like that when you actually stroll through them. Because if you're taking an Uber through New York City, it's one thing, or if you're walking through New York City and experiencing it and living in it, not through glass windows, you get a lot more out of it. So now we're on to part 3 of the video, which is going to be other miscellaneous tips to save money while traveling. The first and most commonly discussed is to travel with friends. When you travel with a giant group of people, you can split the cost of everything. Paying for you to stay in a hotel room for one night with 2 queen beds versus 4 people to stay in a hotel room for one night with 2 queen beds is outrageous. Another thing you can do is resist the urge to buy an entire new wardrobe before you go on your trip. And I, as a woman, and not because guys don't do this, but because I do this every time I travel somewhere, I know it is so hard not to buy like new clothes, or you envision yourself in this white dress in the Bahamas. It's really difficult not to buy it, but the best thing you can do for your pocket is not buy it, rewear something, or if you are gonna shop for clothes, go thrifting. You can also ask for gift cards for like your birthday or Christmas or Hanukkah. You can ask for a Visa gift card, just like the regular ones you can use wherever. You can ask for an Airbnb gift card. If you do decide you wanna get new clothes for your trip, ask for a gift card to your favorite store. That way, when the time comes, you have that to redeem, and then you don't have to spend your own money on things. They also have Uber gift cards, which if you don't want to walk everywhere, just ask for a bunch of Uber gift cards and then boom, you've saved on the Uber fares. Packing lunches is also a really good way to save money while you're traveling. If you're going on vacation for 5 days and you eat out 3 times a day for 5 days, that's 15 meals. That's at least $150 if you're getting, $10 meals, which is really unlikely when you're at a vacation destination. So if you go to like a local grocery store or a market and pack your lunch each day, usually it'll end up costing you around like $3 to $5 as opposed to $10+. And that way you'll also have snacks for when you're around. So when you have like the munchies, not the munchies, but when you're hungry, when you're on vacation, you're able to just snack on something that's in your purse as opposed to having to seek out another thing that you can eat. That tip is also coupled with carrying a water bottle around with you. If you have a water bottle that you can just refill, that is awesome, because if you go anywhere, it's so expensive to buy a water bottle. I mean, us that have even forgotten a water bottle at the airport and had to buy one, it is a lot of money. It's like $3 to $5 for a water bottle that normally would be like $1.29 at the gas station. And on top of saving money, you also save the environment. So it's a win-win. One thing you can do if you are the type of person that when you travel, you have to stay in a hotel, make sure you stay in a hotel that has a free breakfast, because like we discussed earlier, you spend so much money on food when you're traveling. If you can just save on one meal a day, it makes a world of difference. Not to mention, hotels with free breakfasts in other countries are usually awesome. I was in Ireland one time and I stayed at this hotel and we had free breakfast. Like the continental breakfast was so much more extra than the US continental breakfasts. It wasn't just like dry cereal. Another thing you can do is travel to a place where there's a ton of free stuff to do. For example, if you go to London, a lot of the museums are free as long as you offer like a small donation, and you don't even have to, it's just like kind to do so. So if you go to London, you, yes, are paying for London prices for other things, but when you're trying to explore and learn about like the history of the UK and also all the different kinds of like, natural museum histories and stuff like that, you can go to them for free, and that way you don't have to spend a lot of money on doing the extracurricular activities if you're not going somewhere where you're just gonna lay on a beach all day. So my last money saving tip for this video is going to be to choose a cheap vacation. Now, some examples of cheap vacations are cruises and music festivals. The reason that I call these cheap vacations is because they are for the most part all-inclusive, and you're staying in one place for X amount of days and it costs you this much money. For example, if you're going on a 7-night cruise with, say, Royal Caribbean, it'll probably cost you about $800 a person, and that's if you go like in the month of December, because that's what I'm well versed in. What that includes is 3 meals a day, all of your snacks, where you're staying, and extra random things to do, like mini golfing or going down a giant slide or zip lining across your cruise ship. It's a really good amount of money, $800 to pay for a 7-night vacation. So for a 5-day music festival, your ticket would be around $350. And then for food and drinks, like alcohol, I would budget around $80 a person. And that is if you are bringing your own, because if you buy them inside of the festival, it's a lot more expensive. And then roughly $200 for travel there, depending on how far you're going. So I hope you guys enjoyed these tips on how you can travel for cheap. Let me know down below if any of you guys actually use these tips when you travel, because if you do, kudos, because you're saving money. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And I will also have some videos coming soon about festival prep and things of that sort. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And there will be other videos besides those as well. So maybe if you're not interested, you can still subscribe. If you're interested in following me on social media, you can follow my Instagram handle at casuallycarolyn. That's where you can find me. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time. Bye.